Dear friends, welcome to this video lecture on Vedic education in ancient India. It is one part of my course, Education System in India. With a view to understand the philosophy of Vedas, it is very necessary to understand the meaning of the word Veda. Veda is derived from the root of Sanskrit word Vid. Vid means to know God, soul, nature and mind. To be one with God, to obtain salvation, to consider various relationships, to feel oneness with God, to dwell into the mysteries of the universe. What are the beliefs of Vedic religion? They believe in the concept of one God and one world. God is one and only one. There are three entities in this universe: God, soul, and matter. Ultimate aim of life is to obtain salvation, moksha, in union with God. Actions are followed by their results. The law of karma is an important teaching of Vedas. The universe is formed by God. The theory of rebirth and immortality of soul they believe in. Universe is real. Universal fraternity should be promoted. Vasudeva Kudumbak, that is, the entire world is one family. Knowledge of truth should be acquired and dissipated. Justice should be done to all creatures and we should live in peace and harmony. The Vedic literature consists of 4 Vedas, namely Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharvana Veda. Rig Veda consists of 1028 hymns. Yajur Veda lays down the procedures for sacrifices. Sam Veda, it talks about history of Indian music. Atharva Veda deals with medical sciences. Then there is the concept of Vedangas. Vedangas are sort of help books to pronounce and understand correctly the words contained in the Vedas. Shiksha, science of phonetics. Chandas, meters. Vyakarna, logic. Nirukta, etymology. Jyotis, astronomy. Kalpa, rituals. The Upvedas. There are 4 Upvedas Vedic literature talks about. Each deals with 4 subjects. Ayurveda deals with medicine. Dhanurveda deals with military science. Gandharva Veda deals with music. Shilpa Veda deals with architecture and arts. Then there is Brahmana Grantha. They provide supplementary matter. Brahmana Granthas have been written in prose and composed by rishis and acharyas. The Upanishads. They deal with the relation of matter, soul and God. Out of 108 Upanishads, the following one are the most important. Isha Upanishad emphasizes on spiritual unity. Kenya Upanishad illuminates the nature of knowledge. Kada Upanishad deals with the philosophical questions put by Nachiketa, the student, and answers given by Yama, his guru. Mundaka Upanishad clarifies higher and lower knowledge. Mundakya Upanishad, it is related to the true self of the man. Chandogya Upanishad, it provides an important account of man's spiritual education. Brihadarayanga Upanishad, it explains the nature of the divinity of man. There are 6 systems of philosophy Vedic literature talks about. Nyaya system deals with knowledge. It is the science of sciences. According to it, knowledge can be acquired through 4 methods. Pratyaksha, intuition. Anumana, inference. Upma, comparison. Shabda, verbal testimony. Shankya system of philosophy by Rishi Kapil deals with matter. Vaisheshika system of philosophy by Rishi Karnad deals with the theory of atom. Yoga system of philosophy by Rishi Patanjali related with self-control through yoga. Purva Mimamsa system by Rishi Jomini deals with the scheme of right living through appropriate action. Uttar Mimamsa or Vedanta. This system of philosophy by Rishi Vatsayana, it gives the concept of supreme being. Bhagavad-Gita is the latest addition in Vedic literature. Bhagavad-Gita is a collection of teachings of Lord Krishna to his disciple Arjuna. The essence of the philosophy as contained in the Gita is with inner convictions. We should discharge our duties diligently and honestly, irrespective of the consequences, and leave the rest to Almighty. We must fight for justice and right cause. All these nice moral teachings are given in Bhagavad Gita. Sutras. There are 3 sutras. Ashtadhyayi. 14 sutras of grammar composed by Panini are here. Dharma sutras. Rules laid down for contact of both teachers and students are listed out. Krag sutras. It is related to the art of living. What are the characteristics of Vedas? Vedas are representative of the Indian society and culture and point to a unique socio-economic civilization where all are equal irrespective of status and gender. Vedic people had a simple and pure living. They worshipped one God whom the wise described as many. It was a religion of nature which held man central. Vedic outlook is optimistic and positive. Vedic outlook on life is broad. It professes and practices ideal moral life without seduction and sin. People were religiously and spiritually simple, kind, and honest. Students were given special attention and treatment by teachers depending on their interest, aptitude, proficiency, and performance, thus acting as a forerunner of the modern theory and practice of education. Vedanta in education. Education during Vedic period was the third eye, the eye of insight and source of illumination. Vedic system of education insisted on code of conduct both for the student and the teacher, and it placed the child under the care and direction of the teacher. What are the aims of education during Vedic age? Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Education must aim at self-fulfillment and provide freedom from material desires and attachment. Education must provide knowledge for creativity and pursuit of culture and civilization. Education should make life worthwhile, purposeful, and relevant. Tamosoma Jyoti Gamaya. Knowledge should dispel doubts and darkness. Religion dominated every aspect of life, all national, personal, social, and educative procedures and practices. Hence, education should be wedded to religion according to Vedic literature. Individual-centered. Education was for individual who was its chief concern. Education should therefore aim at overall development of an individual. Also, it is nature-centered. The centers of education were located away from the populated and crowded areas, more in natural and sylvan surroundings. Education should make man one with nature. Educational system. Primary education. Education was first provided at home, then a ceremony called Vidya Aramba Samskar. Before beginning education was performed, education period was up to the age of 5 years. Child was made to pronounce Vedic mantras, knowledge of sandhis, connective rules, elementary grammar, elementary arithmetic. After primary education, children were sent to gurukuls and ashrams for higher education. Higher education. Entry age varied between 8 to 12 for different varnas, that is caste, and completed by the 25th year of age. Upanayana ceremony was performed to enable the child to enter into studentship. What was the curriculum? According to Kado Upanishad, the subjects fell into 2 categories: Paravidya, spiritual learning; Aparavidya, worldly learning. What is Paravidya? Into this study fell the essential study of 4 Vedas, also included Vedangas, Upanishads, Puranas, Pitreya, rules for sacrifices, for ancestors, Vaka Vagya logic, Ekayana ethics, Deva Vidya etymology, Brahma Vidya etc. were given in Paravidya education. Aparavidya. This included subjects like history, Ayurveda, economics, astrology, physics, zoology, chemistry, science, Kalpa Vidya, the Rashi, that is science of numbers, Bhut Vidya, science of demons, etc. What were the methods of teaching? Two methods of teaching were being practiced during Vedic period. The first method was Maukhik, oral method, and second was based on Chintan, that is thinking and reflection. In the oral method, students were to memorize the mantras, Vedic hymns and Richayas, verses of Rig Veda. The process of education passed through three stages of comprehension: Shravan, hearing; Manan, meditation; and Nidityasan, realization and experience. Methods of teaching was based on apprenticeship and was psychologically sound. Teaching followed some strategies such as simple to complex, activity and skill-oriented procedures, question and answer technique and illustration were given. Self-study was considered more important in the scheme of education. What was the discipline at that time? Rules for contact of both teachers and pupils were listed down. Rules also for respect from pupils to teacher were framed. Rigid rules were laid for conduct of pupils. Code of dress was observed. Observation of brahmacharya or celibacy was compulsory for all students. Teacher. During Vedic period, the teacher occupied very important place in the scheme of education. He was the center of education, and without him no education could be conceived of. He was called Guru or Acharya, and he was respected as a god by the student as well as the society. Even the king did not enjoy so much respect as the teacher enjoyed. What are the educational implications of Vedic education? Pride in civilization and culture. We are living in modern age, but we feel proud of the civilization culture of our ancestors inherited to us. We give more preference to character, spiritualism, philosophy rather than wealth, power, violence and diplomacy. Educational aims of Vedic age are accepted in principle as aims of modern education to build a character and make life worth living for our younger generations. Discipline and teacher-student relationship. The sense of discipline and cordial relation between the teacher and students of Vedic age is well known to the world. Today's scenario can be revived back by taking efforts to adopt the ideal relationship between teacher and students. What was the subject of studies? Vedic literature is enriched by the sense of peace, humanity, universal brotherhood, which are vital parts of Indian curriculum. What were the teaching methods? Some methods of teaching which were prevalent during Vedic period are still being used fruitfully in Indian schools. Sravana, listening; Manana, learning by heart; Nidithyasana, reflecting. All-round development of a child. The nature of education was much more individualistic rather than joint in groups. All-round development of a child's personality was the chief aim of education. There was no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, color, etc. And the students of all strata of society received education on an equal footing. In modern education too, the Constitution of India has adopted the principle of equality in the field of education. Along with art, literature and philosophy, students got a working knowledge of agriculture and other vocations of life. Modern education also lays stress upon students to prepare themselves for their future life. Vocational subjects are included in the curriculum. Commercial education and mathematics education is one of the chief features of Vedic period. Vedic mathematics has become more popular now. more and more parents are aware about the significance of Vedic mathematics and are taking keen interest to offer the opportunities to their child to learn Vedic mathematics. What are the merits of Vedic education? The Vedic education helped to instill in the minds of parents a desire for the education of their children. Vedic education paid attention to the formation of character and the development of personality of children. Social skill was evolved through training in the fulfillment of duties. Efforts were made for the preservation and propagation of culture. Education was completely free. The expenses of education were borne by the society, and the king, begging for alms, developed humility and tolerance in the students. Arts and handicrafts were highly respected. The teachers enjoyed the highest social status. They treated the students as their own children and paid attention to their development. Education of women also received proper attention in the Vedic age. Music and dancing were also taught to the girls. To sum up what we have learned so far, terms such as knowledge, awakening, humility, modesty, etc. are often used to characterize Vedic education. Education leads to the development of personality. The word Veda originates from the root Ved, which bears the meaning of knowledge. Veda is a means to the obtaining of God. Veda becomes the means of worship as well as a means to the banishment of the undesired, the evil. Just some questions for reflection. Describe various salient features of Vedic education. Discuss the impact of Vedic education in the present system of education in India. Thank you very much, dear friends. Let us continue through other videos in this